Old Man River, if you look at it, there's a spot that you see it retards. You lift that barge, you tote that bale, you get a little drunk, and you land in jail. Pick it right up there. I get weary, sick of trying, tired of living and fear of dying. But Old Man River just keeps rolling, keeps on rolling.
Our heroes are those key characters in our lives we look to for moral example and inspiration. They can be contemporary or historic, or, in the case of musician Herb Jeffries, they can be both. Of his 96 years on the planet, Jeffries has been performing for 8 decades.
I love you too. Thank you so much. You know, most people come to this planet by stork. I came by flamingo, and the doctor was Duke Ellington.
What it really comes down to is that Herb sacrificed a career that would have been bigger than Sinatra's. He's got a better voice than Sinatra. He's got a far more compelling personality. But instead of having the mob back him, he went out on the bus with the black guys.
There's only one race, and that's the human race. And that's the way I've looked at it from the time I came out of the ghetto.
Born Umberto Ballantino, he was the product of an Irish mother and Sicilian father who died before Ballantino was born, leaving his mother to raise her 5 children in a Detroit ghetto.
My mother was Mr. Mom. She was the carpenter, the electrician, the fixer up of the house, and plumber, whatever needed to be done. Taught us how to do it, and also taught us how to use a sewing machine, so we could do our own work, you know, instead of bothering her while she was busy.
It was an age when young people didn't hold on to dreams of success. After a year and a half of high school, he dropped out to help his family.
When I got to be about 18, I lied about my age, and I would sing in the cabarets. I'd paint my fuzz up on my upper lip with my sister's eyebrow pencil, so I looked like I had a mustache. I told them I was 19, and I could sing in these cabarets.
It was an era when music was king.
Well, we played jazz, real jazz, because there were great arrangers around. Arrangers who arranged real jazz. Over her shoulder, she digs me. When you sung in big clubs, you needed a megaphone or a ballroom. People would give you 50 cents, a couple of quarters, maybe, you know, sometimes $1. And the guy who was really showing off might even give you as much as a $5 bill, which is like, wow, you know, $5, man, I can pay my rent with this.
Growing up Sicilian in a city under the control of the notorious Purple Gang was risky.
I knew that eventually, if I stayed in Detroit, someone's going to come and knock on the door and say, "That Sicilian, we want that boy." And there were people around there that you didn't refuse because it could be the life of the whole family.
One evening while performing at a club, a friend brought a guest to hear Ballantino sing.
They called me over the table and asked me to sing a couple songs for him, and I did. And then he wrote me a note, and he said, "Young man," he said, "you are in the wrong place. You want to go to Chicago where the World Fair is, and I'll write you a note to a friend of mine who has an orchestra."
The endorsement came from a man who would become a legend in the music world, Louis Armstrong.
Hitchhiked from Detroit to Chicago, and I hunted around there for not knowing anybody, for several days, sleeping on park benches or whatever, you know. And then I found it in my pocket, and I took it to him, and he looked at it, and he auditioned me, and then he said to me, "Well, what nationality are you?" Well, I knew that Louis Armstrong was from Louisiana, so I told him I was a Creole from Louisiana. Okay, you got it.
There's a song, and it all belongs to you.
It was a quick and fateful answer. He changed his name to Herb Jeffries and left his Sicilian roots behind, assuming the identity of a man of color in a racially segregated world.
The theaters, the little discriminating theaters that they had there, were only they could go to, maybe see 200 people, maybe, were playing white cowboy pictures. And they just flooded them. They loved the white cowboy pictures.
That gave Jeffries an idea. Why not make movies about cowboys of color? He became the Bronze Buckaroo.
With my rope and my saddle and my horse and my gun, I'm a happy cowboy.
And when the day is ending, beneath the setting sun, a happy cowboy's work is done. That was the first all-colored, full-length feature, musical, singing, Western picture ever made on planet Earth.
The films lasted only 2 years, but their message of hope and pride would have an impact Jeffries or his wife Savannah could never have imagined.
And this young man came running up to Herb. I've been waiting for this moment to meet you. My parents named me after you. And Herb goes, they did? He goes, I didn't know that. Herbie Hancock says, yes, my parents named me after your Bronze Buckaroo cowboy, Herbert Jeffrey. My name is Herbert Jeffrey Hancock.
During a visit to his mother in Detroit, Jeffries had a chance meeting with another man who would change his life, band leader Duke Ellington.
I met him for the first time when I was there, and I was knocked off my feet that this great man who I heard play records, and to tell you the truth, it was men like him who made me want to sing jazz. I wanted to sing that kind of music. I didn't want to sing in any other nationality's band, but if I could make it, if they would accept me someday, when I got good enough.
Today, Herb Jeffries and Savannah live in the small mountain town of Idlewild, near Palm Springs, California. Though he travels for performances, including a recent visit to the White House, this is the place he loves, surrounded by the beauty of the mountains and people who adore him.
He has some magical thing. Like I mentioned earlier, like even little kids, they see him and run up to him, don't even know him.
He's like a magnet towards people. Like people walk in and they just walk towards Herb.
Go on out, everybody. Watch it. So hush.
And the thing is you'll never hear Herb crying or complaining or whining in his Wheaties about the fact that he didn't become as big as those guys because of the sacrifices he made. And Herb stood up for America, not for his own self-interest, not for millions of dollars, not for fame and glory, but he sacrificed that in the entertainment industry, which is all about fame, in order to stand up for an ideal. And that ideal is equality. And that is what America is about. And that's what makes Herb Jeffries a true American. And that is what makes Herb Jeffries a hero. Period.
All right, going out, going out, going out, going out. So hush, little baby, no. Thank you for being here. God bless you and we love you. Great to see you next year, same time, same place.